I be sparking and rushing mad like inside the dark. Call me Bill Snatcher, just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a gauntlet and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my secret.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations. And today we're going to be having a bit of a hybrid conversation. So I am going to be borrowing on some information that's coming from the anime as well as stuff that's in the manga. So I would say if you're a anime only fan, I would probably click off of this video, even though I'm going to be referring to some of the stuff that takes place in the anime. So it's really at your discretion, but I am going to be referencing the big battle that's going on currently in the Boruto manga. So that is something to kind of keep in mind. You decide whether or not you want to stick around for this video. So getting right into it, I want to talk to you guys about the possibility, the growing possibility that we might actually see Sarada Uchiha be the one that gives Boruto his scar. Now, I don't think necessarily that this is super likely, but I am going to put this in the category of it could happen. And the reason why I'm saying it could happen is at the end of the Sarada versus Chocho battle, one of the things that we saw was that there was a flashback where Sasuke was looking over at Sarada, and Sasuke directly asked Sarada, if Momoshiki takes over Boruto's body, can you bring yourself to strike down Boruto if it's for the sake of the village? A ninja must learn to make decisions like that. Sometimes you have to be able to see past your own personal emotions and make the decision that is best suited to protect the village. And before that scene, no way in hell would I have ever even considered the possibility that Sarada would be the one that would strike down Boruto. That was not anything I had ever considered, because it was one of those situations where, just on the power scale and perspective, Sarada doesn't come anywhere close to being able to even tangle with BoruShiki. It's one of those things where BoruShiki right now is showing power levels and just a jutsu arsenal that people are even debating whether or not Sage Mode Hokage Naruto is going to be able to even keep up with BoruShiki at this point. Mental nerf or no mental nerf. Now, I personally like to say that with the mental nerf, Naruto have a little bit of trouble, but without it, he wouldn't. But the fact is that Sarada doesn't come anywhere near those power levels. However, this is the thing. I'm kind of wondering if we get into a situation where Sarada is on a mission with Boruto and Boruto loses that control, and it's either a fluke moment or this is a moment that comes after the time skip where we get into the time skip and Boruto still doesn't have that scar, and then that's how he ultimately ends up getting the scar, because we don't know when he got it. So you could use the time skip as a feasible way to explain that, hey, Sarada got stronger off screen. This is what happened. Power creeps are not anything new in the Naruto franchise. The example I like to use is that you had people in the Konoha 11 who had no business being Kage level in part 1, didn't even come close to Kage level, but you get to part 2 of the story and they're able to keep up with Akatsuki members who are all Kage tier and higher. So I mean, it's one of those things where power creeping, it happens, and that's usually what the time skips are for, is to get characters from point A and have them progress to point B. If something like that happened, I would be okay with it. It's just, it's one of those things where I don't think it was put in there by accident that the anime would reference something like that. Like, that is a very specific situation and very specific part of dialogue that's put in there, and it seems way too much like foreshadowing to just write it off as, oh, Sasuke was just trying to say, like, hey, you might have to fight against one of your friends in the tuning exams. You might have to use some of your deadlier jutsu against them. Is that something you're going to be able to do? I don't think that would be a situation like that, because you have to remember, with the character of Sasuke is not somebody that is all indirect and speaking with hidden meanings and hidden messages. If Sasuke looks at something and says it's garbage, he's not going to dress it up. He's just going to say, this is garbage. He's going to tell you why it's garbage, and he's going to walk away, and he's going to leave you with the end result of knowing that it's garbage. So it's one of those things where if he's telling her, you're going to have to use that kunai against Boruto one day, can you be somebody that can actually follow through with that? I really and truly believe that Sasuke was just trying to prepare his daughter for that possibility. And I don't think it was pep talk. I don't think that it was any type of reverse mind games. Given how the anime has a track record of foreshadowing stuff better than the manga does things, I think that we got to take this in consideration. For example, in the manga, you had no earthly idea that Code had a karma seal and that Code was the failed vessel Ishiki Otsuki. There was no foreshadowing of that. There was no telegraphing of it. You have to jump through mental loopholes because Code had only been in the manga for like 3 or 4 panels before that. Whereas in the anime gave you a very slow build up and you're able to see more of Code's character. You're able to see more of the relationship with Ishiki. You're able to see more of the relationship with Jigen, and all of those subtle hints led to a lot of people such as myself saying like, wait a second, are they trying to tell us that Code has a karma seal as well? Is that why we haven't seen him in the manga? So just as they telegraphed something like that in the anime that ended up being a future reveal for the manga, I'm wondering if this is going to be a similar situation like this. Now, I don't expect Sarada to just come out clutch and be very conveniently training in the woods while all of this is going on. She sees the battle unfolding and then she's able to get BoruShiki on the blind spot and basically give the guy his scar over his head. I don't think that that's going to be a situation like that. That would be one of those very convenient shonen tropes that I think would basically water down the importance of this scene right here. So I don't think it's going to be now. I think that your best case scenario is that this could be something that happens in the time skip. Now, if this does end up happening, the one concern that I have is that we're getting into a situation where we're having to rely on the anime to foreshadow future manga events consistently. And that is a problem in my opinion, because I understand that the Boruto anime is meant to supplement the manga. This is not a case like with Dragon Ball Super where you have like the manga version of the story. One was Toei Animation's version of Akira Toriyama's script, and then the other was Toyotaro's version of the script that Akira Toriyama gave, and there are some very clear differences between the two. The Boruto anime and manga, they've made a concerted effort to let people know that what goes on in the anime runs parallel to the manga. It adds more layers to what takes place in the manga. The anime, when it gets to the manga adaptation, adds in more layers that we can't see in the manga version of the story. So that's why we have a lot of people say that like you have anime canon, and I can kind of see why they're going this route. The issue I have with it is that there are certain things that with manga as a medium, as a art form, there are certain things that only manga can convey. And I feel like leaving out context like this, where you're not properly building up to a potential plot twist like this, if that's the route that it goes, and you've got to rely on the anime in order to get that information, I feel like that's the cheap way of writing. However, I want to know from you guys, how do you guys feel about this? Do you guys think it's possible that Sarada ends up getting in a situation where she's got to get Boruto that scar? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until then. Have an awesome day, guys.